From WOKR, Rochester, this is News Source 13, This Morning.
Good morning, 5 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. It's September 11th. I'm Kathy Chris.
And I'm Norma Holland, in for Doug Embledge. And we are, of course, commemorating the anniversary of last September 11th across the country today. We'll have some special stories for you throughout this whole morning.
And we'll also have details of the primary election in just a bit. Some of the results are running across the bottom of your screen, or they should be any time now. So we'll have that for you. You can look for the particular races you're interested in as well. We need to talk to David about our forecast for the day.
Well, we do expect some changes. They're already occurring. In fact, take a look at the big picture of the radar. We have Gustav that's now approaching far eastern portions of Long Island. We had some rain showers move in overnight, and we actually had a severe thunderstorm last evening at 9 p.m. in Orleans County. That has long since expired. But take a look at the rain. You can see it is moving off to the north and east. We will have some lingering showers here in the morning, some light rain, but it's the winds you'll notice from the north-northwest, 20 to 35 miles an hour. It's going to make, for the bus stop, a very windy start and pretty raw feel to the air, with temperatures in the low 60s to mid-60s in the afternoon.
That's something we're used to. We've had such warm weather this whole summer.
That's right.
Big changes.
All right,
Thanks, David. The images of 911 will be everywhere today, on televisions, in newspapers, and in magazines. One media analyst we spoke with says the coverage is important as long as it's done responsibly. Some people say they will avoid the television. ABC News will have special coverage on the September 11th anniversary today. That coverage starts immediately after our broadcast. News Source 13 will also have local coverage throughout the day with an hour-and-a-half special report beginning at 5 o'clock. News Source 13's Doug Embledge will join us this evening with live reports from New York City.
Well, that's right. You know, Doug will show us life in New York City as it is today, 1 year later. In honor of September 11th and those who died, flags will be flown at half-staff today. Just after midnight, the flags at the Capitol and the White House in Washington, D.C. were lowered to half-staff. Also today, bells will ring at the World Trade Center site, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to honor those who died. There will also be moments of silence and a reading of the victims' names in New York, Washington, and Shanksville. President Bush will visit all three locations and will address the nation tonight from Ellis Island. And for a complete listing of the events taking place in our community today to commemorate the 9/11 anniversary, just log on to our website at WOKR13.tv.
As America wakes up to this somber anniversary, the president is telling everyone to go about their day as they normally would, even though the risk of a terrorist attack is greater. America is under a code orange terror alert this morning. That means the risk is high for an attack. The government confirmed yesterday threats have been made against U.S. embassies in Asia. The vice president went into hiding, and the U.S. is particularly concerned about American landmarks here at home. Anti-aircraft missile launchers are set up around the nation's capital with live ammunition as a precaution. There are no reports of any American injuries after a man fired a gun outside a U.S. military base in Afghanistan. It happened in Bagram, north of Kabul. A military spokeswoman says American soldiers fired back. One person from Afghanistan is hurt, but it's not clear if that person is the gunman.
Well, round-the-clock patrols of local waterways. That was the practice for the U.S. Coast Guard here in Rochester post-September 11th. With double the workload and just enough staff to get it done, it was a tiring assignment for Guard members. But now things are changing. News Source 13's Kristen Miranda spent a day at the Coast Guard station here in Rochester.
Are you from around here? Do you speak English? Do you speak English?
For the U.S. Coast Guard, training is a regular occurrence, but since the terrorist attacks, there are new things to think about.
You could have holstered your weapon, you could have took out your spray, and you could have just hosed them down.
1 year ago, Coast Guard Station Rochester was in lockdown mode.
Being a military installation, we had to lock the gates, have armed people outside 24 hours a day, making sure nobody tried to breach the security of the station.
Incoming cars were searched, fishermen lost access to the pier, waterboarders were patrolled day and night, and boats were kept half a mile from the Ginna nuclear power plant.
I had a crew of 26 people to do it all.
For the past several months, the increased security since September 11th has been eased up some, from the entrance to the guard station to the border patrols. Now, cars and fishermen can enter freely. Boats still patrol the borders, but not as often. And the half-mile security zone still stands at Guinea, but it is enforced differently.
Now, if a boat shows up in the security zone up there, Guinea tries to hail them with a bullhorn or call them on the radio. If the boat doesn't respond, they call down here and we scramble the boat up to remove the boat.
Reassurance that the Guard is always ready, just in case. Kristen Miranda, WOKR, News Source 13.
As we mentioned minutes ago, results from the primary races are at the bottom of your screen. With 98% of the precincts reporting, local businessman Tom Golisano beat Governor George Pataki in the Independence Party race. Golisano needed that win to run against Pataki and Democratic candidate Carl McCall this November.
Against both of them as a unit, they represent what's gone on in our state for the last 20 or 30 years, and now we have a real opportunity for significant change in this state, and it doesn't have to be a Democrat or a Republican.
Golisano and Pataki also ran against each other for the Conservative Party nomination. Golisano was a write-in candidate. It could take a few days before we know the results of that race.
Well, members of the Rochester Police Department are mourning the loss of one of their own. 42-year-old Al Smith died after a collision while riding his motorcycle to work yesterday morning. Smith was with the force for 7 years and was a school resource officer with the city school district. Police Chief Robert Duffy says Smith was an upstanding and beloved member of the police department and the entire community.
It was a big night for teachers in the Rochester City School District.
Sign over here.
94% of teachers who went to the polls yesterday agreed to the new contract, which will give teachers an average salary increase of 3.9%. They'll also see an average pay increase of 3.7% next year.
And David is back with a preview of our weather forecast today. You said you talked about the chill we're going to have in the air today, huh?
It's just going to feel awfully raw. When you think we've had 4 days in a row of 90-degree weather, now we're going to struggle to get out of the mid-60s during the day. Now, we did hit 69 at midnight. That will technically be our high temperature today. Will it be 69? I don't think we're going to get back there. In fact, our low temperature so far, and it could still fall a few more degrees, is 63 degrees. Out at the Rochester Airport, you'll notice the sun sets now at 7:28 in the evening. Stay tuned. All the details on Gustav and some fall foliage when we come back in a few moments.
If you look at people and all you see are labels, everyone loses.
Labels hurt all of us, and they're wrong.
Every one of us is unique, a one-of-a-kind original.
Every one of us is a one-of-a-kind original.
Every one of us is a one-of-a-kind original. Our diversity is our strength. Instead of stereotyping, we can all learn from each other.
Don't let prejudice shape your view. Take the time to get to know people and see for yourself who they really are.
We are all one of a kind.
Stereotyping is wrong, and it hurts all of us. Stop stereotyping.
A message from your American Muslim neighbors.
Announcing the incredible $2 million accessory sell-off at Value City Furniture.
This week, take an additional 50 to 75% off our already low prices on selected accessories from around the world.
Save on lamps, candle holders, picture frames, artwork, and much more.
Terrific savings in every aisle on thousands of great items for your home.
The $2 million accessory sell-off this week at Value City Furniture.
Don't miss it.
You're watching News Source 13 this morning with Kathy Kriz, Doug Embledge, and meteorologist David Aldrich. News Source 13. More local news, more local experience.
5:09 out, and right now, if you look outside or just step outside, you'll notice a very, very intense difference from yesterday.
Absolutely.
It was so hot yesterday.
I know.
I was ready to say, okay, this is it.
On the way home,
Last day.
my windows were all the way rolled up, and I just thought,
Had the AC on
this is
yesterday?
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this morning, though, like Kathy said, you walked outside. It was windy, and it was raining where I live in Irondequoit, and I even saw some leaves blowing around, and I just thought, oh my goodness, it feels like it feels like fall.
Yeah.
Well, this
Really
is going to be a difficult day, I think, for all of us. We don't want to carry a sense of melancholy all day, but we want to talk about the potential of these leaves turning and changing colors. I'll give you an idea of some of the fall foliage if you're traveling around the state. So pull out a piece of paper, maybe a pen. I'll have some dates for you here in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the rain situation. Norma mentioned it. It's been raining in parts of Monroe County. You can see all across the area where you see light blue. Some light rain is now coming down. And take a look at the temperatures. Well, it hasn't gotten that much colder during the overnight period. It's going to stay in this range as we move through the afternoon. It's 65 degrees at Parma, 58 in Leroy, 61 degrees in Canandaigua. And today's forecast looks like this. We're talking about temperatures about 61 degrees at 8 a.m. And note the winds. Please note the winds. Northwest 20 to 35 plus. I put the stronger winds in the morning as it will probably start to weaken as we move into the afternoon. Some sunshine may be observed and then a good mix of sun and clouds as the day ends. But I think we'll stay right about 66 degrees at 5. Again, we hit 69 at midnight. That will likely be our high temperature for today. Are you a fall foliage fan? Maybe you like to keep an eye on the colors. If you're traveling in these areas, maybe heading out to the Adirondacks, it's usually the last 2 weeks of September. This is the average peak time for potentially if you're heading out to catch some of those sites. It's the last week in September and usually the first week in October that we usually see it in the western southern tier. Now, other areas that I paint in kind of an orange color at number 3 is the first 2 weeks of October, and that's usually what we think of away from the lake in Monroe County, but some areas take to the second or third week in October, so you can make your plans accordingly. I know weddings that typically occur in October usually have the brilliant colors of the leaves, and those areas you see there at number 4 would be the second and third week of October. And lastly, Long Island and points near Poughkeepsie, usually the last 2 weeks of October, early November. They are usually the last to change and peak in their colors. Right now we've got 66 degrees at the airport. It has dropped down. This has not updated. We're down to 63 degrees now with the west wind at 20 miles per hour. Temperatures, as you can see, the 61 that I'm projecting at 8 is uniformly from Toronto to Buffalo to Jamestown. That cooler air is coming. And this is what you missed. If you were sleeping, we had some strong thunderstorms, one severe thunderstorm in and around Orleans County. We had some downed trees in Medina between 9 and 9:30 last evening, but that severe threat is gone. We're just dealing with some light rain showers that will drop additional rain. About an inch of rain was observed north of Lake Ontario. Some spots getting a little bit more, especially around the Niagara frontier, closer to a ½ inch. But for us, most of us were lucky to get 1/10 of an inch in spots. Notice how the cloud cover is moving through parts of the Empire State. We all would definitely want to pass on the small craft advisory that's in effect. We're expecting wave heights 4 to 6 feet, maybe even a water spout with these northwest winds, 15 to 30 knots for any boaters that are going to be on the water today. Please use caution. We've got rain showers in the Four Corners, but it's Gustav that's now moving in and around parts of Long Island that we want to watch very carefully as it moves up the coast. So your forecast map, as we kind of race through this, we're talking about cooler weather tonight. We're down into the upper 40s. By tomorrow, we're going to see more in the way of a good mix of sun and clouds. Put this into motion. As high pressure moves in, we've got another warm front that'll give us a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures tomorrow about 72 degrees. Today, though, it's going to stay in the 60s, 66 degrees in the afternoon. It will the rain will end here in the morning, but those winds will be noticeable for most of the day. Tonight, lingering clouds, much cooler, down to 48 degrees. And your weekend, all-important weekend, the Clothesline Festival. We've got the Purple Foot Festival at Casa Larga at Fairport. It's going to be a nicer on Saturday, a little showery on Sunday.
All right, thanks a lot, David. Certainly a much needed change, I think.
Yes, we're ready
like
for it.
Like you said yesterday, I'd had enough of this
a little stifling yesterday.
Absolutely. All righty. Well, Designing Neighbors is back this month. It's a chance for you and a neighbor to redecorate a room, in the other person's home. We had a lot of fun last time with Beth and Karen, and we're looking for 2 neighbors who are free September 19th through the 23rd. Both neighbors must be willing to commit to the work in order to be considered.
To enter, send us an email at morningnews@newssource13.com with both neighbors' names, addresses, phone numbers, and the rooms that you want to redecorate. Plus, tell us in 30 words or less why you'd make great designing neighbors.
That's right. Make sure you enter soon. We'll choose our neighbors on September 17th. Coming right up. So That'll be a lot of fun. We had a great time last time, and I think whoever does it this time, and if you're worried about, you know, doing this and having to know how to sew and how to paint, we're going to actually set you up with a professional interior designer.
Right.
So,
So they will help you. You just need to be willing to work.
Yes.
If it is a lot of work.
It's intense.
Still ahead on News Source 13 this morning, we'll take a look at Ground Zero.
That's right. It will be a special site for some today as they come to remember those lost in the terrorist attacks. Please stay with us.
Neighborhood weather reports are made possible by Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning.
Home and Garden, the official sponsors of Designing Neighbors.
Coverage from
Neighborhood weather reports are made possible by Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning.
We all remember September 11th, 2001.
On its anniversary, ABC News will have all-day coverage from across the nation.
And at 5, join us for a special 90 minutes of News Source 13 as we look at the local impact of 9/11.
We hope you'll join us September 11th.
It's the Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning Winter Celebration. We're celebrating being chosen Contractor of the Year with our best offer of the year. When you buy a new Rheem high-efficiency contour furnace, you'll receive a new Rheem central air conditioning system free. You'll save money on your heating bill, add value to your home, and keep your family comfortable season to season. So act now and take advantage of our winter celebration. Call 546-1400 or visit isaacheating.com for more information.
When a crisis strikes, children need a voice. We can all heal by joining the Kids Helping Kids campaign and reaching out to the children most impacted by the September 11th disaster. 1-800-FOR-KIDS.
You're watching News Source 13 this morning.
5:16 now. Here are the headlines this Wednesday morning. A big win for local billionaire Tom Golisano in yesterday's state primary. He will be on the ballot in November's race for New York State Governor. Golisano beat out George Pataki for the Independence Party vote.
The signatures look the same? They're supposed to be the same.
Today, the nation will pause and remember the terrorist attacks 1 year ago. More than 2,800 people were killed. Flags will fly at half-staff across the country. At Ground Zero, there will be a moment of silence and a reading of the names of those who died. And the Rochester Police Department is mourning the death of one of its officers. 42-year-old Al Smith was killed when his motorcycle collided with a truck yesterday. Smith worked as a school resource officer at the Dr. Freddie Thomas Learning Center.
But first, right now we're gonna go to a live look at the World Trade Center site as it is today. And as you can see there, you've got obviously some it's a lit roadway or a lit walkway, I believe that is. Media from all over the world there today. I was just watching a report yesterday about the number of media that will be there, and of course, you know, hundreds of thousands of people as well. And Doug Embledge is live and will be live in New York City for us today.
Yeah, there'll be a ceremony today. It'll start with a moment of silence. There'll be bagpipers, and we've talked about this for about a month now. Governor Pataki and Mayor Bloomberg, Mayor of New York City, will be there to read the thousands of names of those who died. There will be a bell ringing portion of the ceremony. A very, very solemn day for family members who will be attending, as well as friends, and for everyone who will be watching across the country and around the world today. So we'll be looking for that. Good Morning America and ABC will be starting with its special coverage immediately following our broadcast at 7 o'clock.
And you know, Kathy, something interesting to talk about the World Trade Center site. There's a big debate over what to do with that site. You know, do we have it simply leave it as it is, or do we erect some sort of monument? A lot of folks, some family members, expressing disinterest in that idea, saying that it should be left as it is, that it's a very solemn and somber place. And to leave it that way.
I saw, I believe it was a spouse of someone who had, you know, a relative of someone who had died from yesterday, and she was interviewed, and she said she went yesterday and she had no inspiration by going there and seeing the names on the wall. I mean, for her, it just didn't make her want to come back. You know, she decided that it was a hollow ground, as she said, and it needed to be left.
Yeah.
As,
big debate
as
over that site.
Yeah, it's interesting just to hear from families of the victims.
And you would think that above all, their wishes should be respected the most over any sort of commercial interest, but that's my editorial for the day.
Coming up, we'll have the latest business news from ABC.
Stay with us.
Have you ever experienced a real bagel? Not frozen, not steam injected, but a real Bruegger's bagel. Made the way only we make them. Right here in our bakery, hot and fresh in our stone hearth oven. Consider yourself invited to come on into Bruegger's and taste the difference. Bruegger's Bagel Bakers bake a better bagel.
Try one of our bagel and egg sandwiches. Wake up, come in, and taste the difference. For the latest weather information, call the Weatherline Forecast Service, sponsored by the Shopping Bag and Advertiser and updated by News Source 13's weather team at 334-0013. You can be part of gathering the news. If you see news happen, dial 222-1313 or place a free call to star 13 on your Verizon wireless phone.
Brian, there's an old saying, how important is it and does it affect my breathing?
Yeah, Bill, I know you can relate to that. And for the 24 million Americans who suffer with asthma, each breath can be a struggle.
Join us for the Blow the Whistle on Asthma Walkathon Sunday, September 29th at Genesee Valley Park.
When you participate in the walkathon or if you sponsor someone, you'll help fund research and treatment programs for this debilitating disease. Because when you can't breathe,
nothing else matters.
You're watching News Source 13, honored for the 7th time in 8 years with the New York Associated Press Award for the best regularly scheduled newscast. The tradition of excellence continues.
Time to get an update on your weather.
That's
David
right.
just running in with the latest numbers.
Well, we've got obviously some cool down. We're going to stay cool, although we're in the 60s. It's the wind that you'll notice. Take a look at your weather update because we do expect temperatures to fall to about 61 degrees at 8 o'clock. It's already 60 here in Henrietta. It'll be windy with some scattered rain. The rain should end in the morning. We've got some sunshine in here, peekaboo sun. You'll notice the winds 20 to 35 in the morning and then 15 to 30 in the afternoon. Highs near 66 degrees.
Okay, thanks David.
We have an update now on the sale of Martha Stewart's shares of Imclone stock. ABC's Derek McGinty has the latest money news from ABC.
Good morning. Here is this morning's Money Scope report. Investors gave shares in Martha Stewart's company a boost after a House committee asked the Justice Department to open a criminal investigation into her sale of Imclone stock. They apparently agreed with Stewart's lawyer, who said that's where the investigation belongs. Oil prices hit their highest level since just after last year's attacks, after the U.S. Navy warned al-Qaeda may be targeting oil tankers. The Navy said it has no specific details, but that threat is serious. Oil markets are already worried about a U.S. attack on Iraq. The number of managers and executives starting their own companies after losing their jobs is on the rise. A new survey finds more than 10% of unemployed managers launched a startup in the first half of the year, and that's the highest number since the beginning of the dot-com boom. The terrorist attacks accelerated and deepened the nation's economic slowdown last fall. But this morning, Keith Stock of Capgemini Ernst & Young told ABC News that without those attacks, the economy might be in even worse shape now.
That spurred the Federal Reserve to be more aggressive in lowering rates. It caused companies to adjust inventory levels and to sort of plan for something that would be much more severe by way of a recession. So we got there quicker. The prospect is that we will recover more quickly as a result.
Consumer confidence is holding steady as the nation marks the anniversary of the terrorist attacks. Just 32% of Americans surveyed for the weekly ABC News Money Magazine poll said the economy is doing well, but 59% said their own personal finances are in good shape. Stay with us for live coverage of September 11th memorial events throughout the day, plus a Peter Jennings special answering children's questions this afternoon. And that is this morning's Money Scope report. I'm Derek McGinty.
This woman is in hiding because of what she says she knows about Saddam Hussein. Thursday, paranoia, plots, torture, and George Bush. Saddam's secrets. She says she knows them because she was his secret mistress. A primetime world exclusive. Thursday.
George Stephanopoulos. He's never done anything just the same old way. And Sunday mornings will be no exception. Starting this Sunday, it's a new This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Sundays, this is where news will be made.
Their job was to guard the Pentagon, so when the place was hit, they were the first to respond. Their story, tonight.
They were American heroes fighting the war against terror, but did they bring terror home? 4 soldiers accused of killing their wives. Friday, what you don't know about the Fort Bragg murders. What may have sent these men over the edge in their own homes?
Were these crimes of passion?
John Miller investigates on the extraordinary season premiere of 2020 Friday.
He never saved another's life. He never ruled a nation. He never led men in desperate battle. And yet his whole life is a story of heroism. And Wednesday, September 18th, his victory will thrill your heart. To lift one little finger. Christopher Reeve, Courageous Steps, Wednesday, September 18th at 10/9 Central on ABC.
Well, for many Americans, the terrorist attacks brought the Islamic faith and its followers under intense scrutiny. Here in Rochester, members of the Muslim community rallied for peace and against discrimination. Today, meet a young Muslim woman using education to defend her faith and her culture.
Just think about it. Why are you Muslim? You believe it?
Shaza Khan is a teacher at the Islamic Center of Rochester. She's used to asking questions, but after September 11th, she found herself answering questions that came from total strangers.
We were prompted to do more and more immediately and with greater intensity after September 11th to put out, to try and dispel the stereotypes of Muslims and Islam that are so prevalent in American society and abroad.
Although Shaza says she never directly faced discrimination, her family worried that she might, and even asked her to remove her hijab or scarf when going outside. She refused.
It was something that came from within. It didn't matter to me, and in fact, it strengthened my resolve, all of this, to become more solidified in my Muslim identity.
They lose their husbands. They lose their sons.
Through peace rallies and interfaith prayer services, Muslim leaders highlighted Islam's emphasis on peace. Shaza says being an advocate for Islam was at times exhausting, but she says she drew strength from people inside and outside the Muslim community.
In terms of the Rochester community, it's been so phenomenal and so supportive. When I would come in, there was loads of cards and flowers and just people offering so much support to the Muslim community.
While the treatment of Muslims locally has been mostly positive, some say the treatment of Muslims nationally is still lacking.
The FBI continues to search and question people suspected of having al-Qaeda connections. Ali Nahas worries innocent people may get caught in the dragnet.
September 11 does not mean that we lose our civil rights, does not mean that we lose our legal protection as Americans. I'm not talking about a Muslim, I'm talking about Americans in general, because the administration policies is affecting all Americans.
Americans with different customs. Americans who also share a dream for peace. And last night, members of the Muslim community in Rochester honored those who served the public after September 11th.
The American Muslim Council organized the ceremony, which was held at the Islamic Center in Brighton. Members of the Rochester Police and Fire Departments, the Red Cross, and other agencies were saluted. Some area Muslims say they experienced discrimination after the attacks last year, but now they say those feelings of anger toward them seem to be gone.
And in today's Democrat Chronicle, we actually have here with us, you can take a look for special coverage 1 year after the terrorist attacks. There's this insert with some of the stories of people who are either from Rochester or have ties to Rochester that either had ties to 9/11. So this will be in today's paper. You should definitely take a look at it.
And we will be right back. Stay with us.
You don't have to like me.
Or you can. You don't have to be my friend. But you might like me
If you got to know me.
You don't have to be my roommate.
I am gonna be your neighbor. You don't have to run with me.
You really don't have to run away from me. You may not like what I have to say.
But hear me.
Hear me.
Hear me out. Man, what not all that different?
I like good food. Good music.
I love my mom.
Yeah, I want to fall in love.
Madly.
I want a good job.
I want my kids to live in a world
where they are safe and loved and respected for who they are.
You don't have to like me, but if you talk to me,
You might.
we can end prejudice if we talk to each other. Call.
Tell us what you do.
Together we can build one America.
From WOKR, Rochester, this is News Source 13 this morning.
And we are back. Good morning. It is 5:30 on this Wednesday morning, September 11th. I'm Norma Holland in for Doug Embledge.
And I'm Kathy Kriz, and we are commemorating the anniversary of last September 11th across the country today. We'll have some special stories for you throughout the morning.
That's right. We'll also have details of the primary election that happened yesterday in just a bit, and we'll have some of the results that are going to be running at the bottom of your screen. And meteorologist David Aldrich is here with our morning forecast. David, kind of chilly out there.
It's chilly, it's rainy, and it's going to feel raw because those winds out of the north-northwest have picked up. They will be anywhere from 20 to 35 miles per hour in the morning. Take a look at the radar. You can see it is certainly blue south of Churchville and through southern Monroe County. Lighter rain is being observed elsewhere, but take a look at that forecast. 61 degrees at 8, 64 degrees at noon. It will be windy, but it'll lessen as we move through the afternoon. The sun will pop out from time to time. We'll talk more about that in detail. Plus, Gustav has now reached near hurricane strength. We'll talk about all the details and coordinates in a few moments.
Okay, David, thank you. Hundreds of New York City firefighters died trying to save lives in the World Trade Center, and the outpouring of support for fire departments after the attacks is unprecedented. News Source 13's Peter Robbins takes a closer look at the Brotherhood today.
Driving Rochester streets is different than it used to be for firefighters. They feel a level of support from the community they never had in the past.
These people, now I think that more than ever they realize that, we are there for them and, willing to put our lives on the line for them, and it's a good feeling to be appreciated.
The way the crew of Quinton Midi 5 approach their jobs has changed forever.
You want to give Daddy a hug? No hugs for Daddy.
The sense of family and unity they feel is even stronger, and the feeling that their lives are on the line every day has been intensified.
September 11th has changed the way firefighters think when they respond to a call. They used to just worry about helping people in need, but now they also have to worry about their own safety and the possibility that someone might deliberately try to hurt them.
With all the criteria that they have for terrorist attacks, Rochester is ranked pretty high. And we have been training for that, and hopefully nothing ever happens, but it would be very scary. It would be scary.
When the crew saw the towers come down, they knew dozens, if not hundreds, of firefighters would be among the dead. Lieutenant Bob Crandall says 30 years of fighting fires could not prepare him for that day.
No experience in my 30 years to draw from to compare it to, and to that magnitude and that devastation and that the thoughts that must have been going through their minds. Just couldn't deal with it at that time, and not sure whether I have yet fully or not either.
Grieving is a process they've approached like everything else they do. They're doing it together. Peter Robbins, WOKR News Source 13.
And of course, as America wakes to this somber anniversary, the government is urging everyone to be on alert. America is still under a code orange terror alert, signaling a high risk of attack. President Bush met with his administration before making the decision yesterday. Intelligence is warning of car bombings, suicide attacks, and other strikes linked to the September 11th anniversary. Patrols are visible around several parts of the country. High-profile landmarks and monuments and U.S. embassies overseas have increased security. The president says he is taking everything seriously, and the threats lately and are similar to those heard before the attacks 1 year ago.
In honor of September 11th and those who died, flags will be flown at half-staff today. Just after midnight, the flags at the Capitol and the White House in Washington, D.C. were lowered to half-staff. Also today, bells will ring at the World Trade Center site, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to honor those who died. There will also be moments of silence and a reading of the rolls of the dead in New York, Washington, and Shanksville. President Bush will visit all 3 locations, and he will address the nation tonight from Ellis Island. The images of 9/11 will be, 9/11 that is, will be everywhere today on television screens and newspapers and in magazines. Some people say they will avoid the TV, while others will watch special coverage. Some even plan to tune in with their children. A media analyst we spoke with says today's coverage is important as long as it's done responsibly.
And I hope the response is going to be a measured one that examines not only what happened, but also where we are now as a result of the events of a year ago. Give us the opportunity to reflect and think about the experience ourselves.
And ABC News, of course, has special coverage planned in honor of the September 11th anniversary today. That coverage starts immediately following our broadcast. News Source 13 will also have local coverage throughout the day with an hour-and-a-half special report beginning at 5 o'clock. News Source 13's Doug Embledge will also join us with live reports from New York City. And for a complete listing of the events taking place in our area today to commemorate the September 11th anniversary, log on to our website at WOKR13.tv.
As we mentioned minutes ago, results from the primary races are at the bottom of your screen, with 98% of the precincts reporting local businessman Tom Golisano beat Governor George Pataki in the Independence Party race. Golisano needed that win to run against Pataki and Democrat
we will be campaigning
Carl McCall.
Against both of them as a unit. They represent what's gone on in our state for the last 20 or 30 years, and now we have a real opportunity for significant change in this state, and it doesn't have to be a Democrat or a Republican.
Golisano and Pataki also ran against each other for the Conservative Party nomination. Golisano was a write-in candidate, and it could take a few days before we know the results of that race.
In other news, a Livonia man faces rape charges this morning. Police say 30-year-old Matthew Stewart allegedly had sexual contact with a 13-year-old female. He now faces second-degree rape charges and is in jail without bail. The Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office is working to identify some bones that were found along Duran-Eastman Beach yesterday. There is no word if the bones are human at this point. Someone walking along the beach found the bones and called 911.
When we come back, meteorologist David Aldrich will have our forecast.
Stay with us.
It's the Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning Winter Celebration. We're celebrating being chosen Contractor of the Year with our best offer of the year. When you buy a new Rheem high-efficiency contour furnace, you'll receive a new Rheem central air conditioning system free. You'll save money on your heating bill, add value to your home, and keep your family comfortable season to season. So act now and take advantage of our winter celebration. Call 546-1400 or visit isaacheating.com for more information.
I am an American. I am an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
I
I
am
an American.
I am an American.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm an American. I'm an American.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
When you volunteer as a host family for the Fresh Air Fund, all you need is a little room in your heart and your home. Without your help, some kids will never get to experience the freedom of playing outdoors or life outside the city streets. It only takes 2 weeks to give a city child hope and an unforgettable summer. Please call now to host a Fresh Air child.
You're watching News Source 13 This Morning with Kathy Kriz, Doug Embledge, and meteorologist David Aldrich. News Source 13. More local news, more local experience.
And we are back, and David is here with a look at our weather forecast for us today. A very chilly one. You said the word to best describe today's weather, raw.
Raw. I think
interesting.
That's a good way to describe it. I mean, even though 60s isn't cold, but we've been...
Well, to us it is. We've been dealing with 90s.
90s, exactly. So even though this is September 11th, we're thinking, you know, remembrance. It will be certainly a day to remember, at least for our systems, our bodies, to get used to it. Take a look at the numbers. We've dropped in some locations to the mid-50s in Leroy, 62 in Rochester, 60 in Geneseo. We did get some rain. How much rain, you ask? Just about 4/100ths of an inch in Rochester, a little bit more there in Canandaigua at 0.16, and about 7/100ths in Leroy and Canandaigua. Take a look at the 50-mile range on Fast Track 13. You can see we're still dealing with some light to maybe moderate rain along the Livingston-Monroe County line, but really this is not going to add too much as far as the way of problems, but it will be more of a nuisance rain from here on out. Take a look at the last 6 hours. I want to give you the updates here on Tropical Storm Gustav. This storm will be a problem probably for eastern Nova Scotia. I'll stay out of this way so you can see the full view. Eastern Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, as this begins to pick up in forward speed and as it moves off to the north and east. This storm is just missing Long Island, but it may, at least with some of the rain showers, affect parts of Massachusetts and around Cape Cod. But you can see the rain showers that we had that came through from the west. We had a actually a severe thunderstorm in Orleans County last evening between 9 and 9:30. The Tropical Storm Gustav is a marginal, not quite a hurricane yet, but it's close to it with maximum winds at 70. That means the strongest winds are near the center of the circulation, but it's moving northeast at 24 miles per hour. That cold front will help usher that to the north and east. Today's forecast, we're not expecting Gustav rains. In fact, we're just expecting some cool Canadian winds to come out of town, out of the north-northwest, 20 to 35 plus by 8 o'clock, and it'll generally be between 15 and 30 in the afternoon as sunshine begins to peek out from time to time. Temperatures during the day will stay in the mid-60s. I think the high temperature officially will have come here at midnight. We were at 69 degrees at midnight. That will be the temperature that is recorded. Also want to talk about the potential for water spouts. Water spouts on Lake Ontario are possible, even with the small craft advisory. Not a good day to be on Lake Ontario with 30-knot winds and wave heights 4 to 6 feet. It's going to be very choppy. Also want to talk about something more positive, fall foliage. I know we have a lot of people who would like to travel through the Empire State. It's the Adirondacks that usually peak, the average peak, last 2 weeks of September. This being September 11th, you can make your plans accordingly. The last week of September, first week in October is usually the western southern tier, and usually the first 2 weeks for most of the state of October is observed, but there are spots that usually blossom between the second and third week of October. That's listed there in the color orange is 4, and number 5, early November, and the last 2 weeks of October is usually Long Island. Something to think about if you're traveling and keeping an eye on those leaves. 63 degrees currently at the airport. We've got a west wind at 18 miles per hour. The gusts have been a little stronger, but you can see all the activities in the northeast as this tropical storm will be ushering away in time. Your forecast looks like this. The map keeps the cool air from the north today. Tonight, we clear out for a while, and then more clouds may come back into the picture as we move into your Thursday. High pressure will move to our south. A few extra clouds, but a slightly warmer. We'll get up into the low 70s for Thursday's forecast. Today, though, in the 60s, it will feel rather raw and windy when you consider those winds out of the northwest, 20 to 35 to start off the day at 8 o'clock. A few lingering clouds tonight, much cooler. If you're heading to any of the remembrance ceremonies, you'll definitely keep that in mind. We're down to 48 degrees. That's awfully cool to the system as we get used to cooler weather. 75 Friday, and again, big weekend. Saturday looks to be the better of the 2 days because we know we got the Clothesline Festival, also Oktoberfest in Irondequoit.
That's right, and the weather will work out for at least
most
for
of those,
Saturday.
Yeah, it definitely feels like fall. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Okay.
Well, Designing Neighbors is back this month. A chance for you and a neighbor to redecorate a room in the other person's home. Now, we're looking for 2 neighbors who are free September 19th through the 23rd. Both neighbors must be willing to commit in order to be considered for the project. You have to be willing to work. To enter, please send us an email at morningnews@newssource13.com with both neighbors' names, addresses, phone numbers, and the rooms you want to redecorate. Plus, tell us in 30 words or less And we mean 30 words or less why you'd make great designing neighbors.
And the deadline is September 17th. We're going to choose the neighbors on the 17th, so please get those emails into us as soon as you can.
That's right.
Still ahead on News Source 13, a budding weathercaster makes the leap to the big screen in Mike Sidoni's Hollywood Report.
But first, in a volatile stock market, how can investors protect their savings? We'll have some tips for you. Stay with us.
Designing Neighbors on News Source 13 is brought to you by Interiors Furniture and Chase Pitkin Home and Garden, the official sponsors of Designing Neighbors.
Even with osteoarthritis, these arms still have a way with the ladies. These legs hardly miss a beat. And these hands, oh, these hands haven't lost their touch. Celebrate their Celebrex. Just one Celebrex lasts 24 hours and provides powerful arthritis pain relief that is non-narcotic. People with aspirin-sensitive asthma or allergic reactions due to aspirin or other arthritis medicines or certain drugs called sulfonamide should not take Celebrex. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems. Ask your doctor if prescription Celebrex is right for you. Celebrex, the #1 doctor-prescribed arthritis brand.
Of all the big questions, of all the mysteries, perhaps the most perplexing one is, why are we here? Every species in this world we share has an important part to play. So what is ours? Maybe it's that we're the only species with the power to protect all the species, including ourselves.
You're watching News Source 13 this morning.
5:46 now. Here are the headlines on this Wednesday morning. A big win for local billionaire Tom Golisano in yesterday's state primary. He will be on the ballot in November's race for New York State governor. Golisano beat out George Pataki for the Independence Party vote.
Okay, those signatures look the same? They're supposed to be the same.
And today the nation will, of course, pause and remember the terrorist attacks 1 year ago. More than 2,800 people were killed. Flags will fly at half-staff across the country, and at Ground Zero there will be a moment of silence and a reading of the names of those who died. And the Rochester Police Department is mourning the death of one of its officers. 42-year-old Al Smith was killed when his motorcycle collided with a truck yesterday. Smith worked as a school resource officer at the Dr. Freddie Thomas Learning Center. And we've seen a lot of the stock market volatility over the last few months, and leading many investors to wonder if there's anything they can do to protect their hard-earned savings. Monica Bertrand has some suggestions in this morning's Personal Finance Report.
With the stock market's twists and turns, more investors are giving bonds a second look. I'll take a look at the buzz around bonds in today's Bloomberg Personal Finance Report.
I am an American. I am an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
I
I
am
am American.
I am an American.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm an American. I'm an American.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
If you're in the mood for some stability in your investments, you may want to inject some bonds into your portfolio. When interest rates are falling, bond prices go up. Interest rates are about as low as they can go right now, so you probably won't see the price of your bonds go up, but they will keep paying interest. And on top of that, because interest rates aren't expected to rise sharply over the next year or so, the price of your bonds isn't likely to fall either. Now think of it this way. 1994 was one of the worst years for bond investing. The Fed raised rates 6 times that year, but the median bond fund lost just 2% of its value. Remember, though, it's important to diversify your holdings of fixed income assets just like your stock holdings. Try filling 80% of your bond portfolio with investment-grade debt or the highest quality bonds, such as intermediate-term Treasury bonds. Put the other 20% in riskier debt, such as mortgage-backed credit zero-coupon bonds and high-yield debt, which pay higher interest rates. That will improve your returns without adding much risk. So invest some time in seeing whether bonds can be a stabilizing force in your portfolio. And that's today's Bloomberg Personal Finance Report. I'm Monica Bertrand.
David has a look at our travel forecast now.
Well, traveling in the Northeast may be a little more challenging today, especially if you're heading out. Maybe you have flights out to parts of southern New England. Take a look at the picture. We've got a cold front that is pushing some of these showers through northern New York State. And then we have Tropical Storm Gustav, who has increased with maximum winds now near 70 miles per hour. But it will be a greater threat for eastern Nova Scotia as that storm, Gustav, moves to the north and east. With that said, temperatures today will stay in the mid-60s, I think. We hit 69 at midnight. That will be the recorded high. But during the day, it's going to feel quite raw with the winds blowing out of the northwest, 15 to 30 or greater. 76 degrees, though, in San Francisco with sunshine. Sunny in Portland at 84. And Atlanta, mostly sunny at 93 degrees. Let's talk about the ride to work with Carol Williams.
All right. Well, as you're heading into work this morning, you will find some rainy situations. Just give yourself a couple extra minutes. Be careful. Watch out for hydroplaning. On 390 from Scottsville Road to just past the 395-90 interchange on the south side, you'll see it's scheduled to have one lane closed for paving. It doesn't start for a while, but you will see some delays later today. Right now, everything's looking good. 590, 490, 104 in good shape. With your ride to work, I'm Carol Williams.
Thanks, Carol. Only in America can you hear this sort of story, that of a budding weathercaster who makes not only a fast, long leap to the big time, but also to the big screen. In Mike Sidoni's Hollywood Report, meet Maria Kiban, a young woman living the American dream.
No rain tonight, but our weather certainly nothing to complain about. Rick.
Today's forecast, chance of stardom. Maria Kiban leaps from the weathercasting green screen to the big screen for a role in Clint Eastwood's latest release, Bloodwork, but not a role that Kiban expected.
When Clint saw the tape, he looked at me and said, "No, I don't want her for the reporter. This is Gloria Torres," is what he told the casting office. "I'd rather see her dead."
Which one?
Excuse me.
Which one's dead?
My sister.
Kiban is that sister, seen just briefly in this photo and this murky surveillance video flashback. A small role, still a big deal for Kiban, perhaps the only weathercaster ever to have received direction from Clint Eastwood.
Clint Eastwood is exactly how you see him on the screen. He's very soft-spoken and very deliberate, very charismatic, and if I could just say, even though he's 70-something years old, he's hot.
So is Kiban's career. In just a few years, the Hawaii native leapt from medium market Honolulu to the big league, Los Angeles. Still, she has not gone Hollywood. Not even movie stardom can make her forget her island roots.
I can't sing. Stick to my day job. And I miss all the cute local boys. Nothing like the local boys.
Making the move from Hawaii to Hollywood, Maria Kiban in Clint Eastwood's Bloodwork, new in theaters. Mike Sidoni, WOKR, News Source 13, Hollywood.
Birthday wishes straight ahead from News Source 13 this morning.
And we'll also head out to Christine Webb. She's going to be live at the WOKR Clear Channel Blood Drive. Stay with us.
If you've ever dreamed about the freedom and flexibility of owning your very own RV, don't miss the season-ending RV Super Sale on now at the Greece Ridge Center. With over 100 new and used RVs on sale and low bank rates, you're sure to find the RV to fit your lifestyle and your budget. Tent campers start at just $37.95. Travel trailers from only $11,995. You can even hit the open road in a brand new motorhome for only $399 a month. The RV Super Sale is now through Sunday. Bring the whole family. Don't miss this chance to make your RV dreams come true.
News Source 13, always on at WOKR13.tv for up-to-the-minute local news, weather, sports, health, and entertainment information. Go to WOKR13.tv. For the latest weather information, call the Weatherline Forecast Service, sponsored by the Shopping Bag and Advertiser and updated by News Source 13's weather team at 334-0013.
Thank you for defending our country after we were attacked. Thank you for risking your lives in the name of freedom. America thanks you, and we thank you with a hero's welcome at the Carrier Dome Saturday, September 14th. Join us as we honor Fort Drum soldiers and their families Saturday, September 14th at the Syracuse University football game.
Welcome to a brand new season. It's the Hollywood Square.
Where are my hair extensions?
Hollywood Squares? It's a whole new game.
Hollywood Squares, weeknights at 7:30 on 13.
We have some birthdays to share with you this morning.
That's right. Joshua Olson turns 4 years old today. His grandma sends birthday wishes and lots of love.
A happy 11th birthday to J.W.B. Ment. This greeting comes with love from Mom, Dad, Cassandra, and Hunter. Happy birthday.
And Jake Temerson is 13 years old today. His mom and dad want to welcome Jake to teenagehood. Isn't that cute? Happy birthday, Jake. And your mom and dad promise this year your birthday will be better than the last year.
Happy 40th birthday to Teresa Latuca today. Those who know her and love her call her TT, myself being one of them. This greeting comes with love from Nika, Frankie, Big Frank, all her family and friends, and her favorite younger sister. That's a clue, TT, so catch up with your favorite younger sister. That's a picture from her earlier days.
Okay.
She was a nurse. She's studying to be a teacher.
Really?
Now. Very
How nice.
impressive woman.
I like the nicknames. You know, don't you love the nicknames you get from your family members?
Yes.
So, well, you know, obviously today we're talking about September 11th, and a lot of folks wondering what they can do to help out today. Well, the Red Cross is asking any eligible donors to come out and donate today to help commemorate last September 11th.
And many people came out to donate last year in response to the terrorist attacks. News Source 13's medical reporter Christine Webb is live at the Holonome in Henrietta this morning for the WOKR-TV Clear Channel Blood Drive. Christine, how are you?
Morning.
Good morning, Kathy and Norma. It is really crazy down here because in just moments, the WOKR Clear Channel Blood Drive will get underway. You know, it's funny, when we pulled up this morning and came in here, there is an army of people just getting ready to get things started today. I want to bring in Chuck Kelly from Chuck Kelly's Morning Mix.
Hey, Chuck.
100.5. Norma says hi.
Oh, hi, Norma. How you doing?
She says hi.
Yeah, Norma works with me, too.
I know. Explain to us the importance, obviously, of, we've been talking about this on the radio as well.
Well, it's just our way of honoring the folks from 9/11, and you know, it's amazing. You're talking about the military. We got a military operation going on here right now,
like it.
But it's just our way of doing something positive for 9/11. You know, we're going to be bombarded with all the visuals today, and all the negative news and all the trauma that we have gone through. So it's at least we can do something positive today. And you know, we're out here till 7 o'clock tonight, hoping for at least 500 units of blood. So we're doing a good thing for 9/11 for a change.
And tell us, you're going to be on the air.
We're
from
on the air till, well, actually till 10 o'clock this morning. Okay. And then we'll do live cut-ins throughout the middle of the day, and then our afternoon guy, Mark Spencer, will be on the air this afternoon. Our sister station, Wham, is out here, Hot Talk, Kiss, Nerve, all of our stations are out here along with Channel 13. So we'll be out here all day.
We got to let you go back to work.
I got to go get on the air. I'll see you later. Bye, Norma. I'll see you later.
But really, it is absolutely crazy down here. Again, right after 9/11, there were hundreds of people who came out to donate, and then all of a sudden, many of them were first-time donors, but then they kind of dropped off. I want to bring in Carol Schaffner from Geneva. Good morning, Carol. Thanks so much for being here. You are a volunteer. Tell us how long you've been volunteering with the American Red Cross.
Well, probably just 3 years, but I have a special reason for doing it. One day I needed 43 units of blood, so I figure if I can give something back to the community, encourage other people to come, I'd like to do that.
So what's the message to get out there, since you know firsthand?
It's extremely important, and right now there's a low, so we need all we can get.
Well said. Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you.
Again, the WOKR Clear Channel Blood Drive takes place starting now until 7 o'clock tonight. We are at the Holodome on Jefferson Road in East Henrietta. Really easy to get to, and we hope to see a lot of people out here.
Yeah. Sure there will be. Everyone wants to do something today, so this will be a good thing for them to do.
It's noticing a lot of red, white, and blue.
That's right. Very
Earrings
patriotic
and
out there.
Sure, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yes, today. Well, we'll have more right after this. Stay with us.
Have you ever experienced a real bagel? Not frozen.
Bagel. Try one of our bagel and egg sandwiches. Wake up, come in, and taste the difference.
At Value City Furniture, we're rolling back prices to save you even more on fine home furnishings.
For a limited time, pay just $299 for any of these great-looking full-size sofas. Save 1/2 off comparable retail prices.
Or pay just $299 for any of these exclusive all-wood beds by American Signature. Our prices have never been lower.
For great furniture at tremendous savings, don't miss the incredible price rollback sale going on now at Value City Furniture.
From WOKR, Rochester, this is News Source 13 this morning.
Good morning. It is 6 o'clock on this Wednesday morning. It's September 11th. I'm Kathy Chris.
And I'm Norma Holland in for Doug Embledge. And David is here with a look at our morning forecast, and it's certainly going to be one that is going to be very chilly today. We were talking earlier, the word to describe today's forecast, raw. It will feel like it
windy.
today. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's already very windy right now. We've had a 41-mile-an-hour gust just in Parma in the last 20-30 minutes. Let's go ahead and take a look first at what's going on the radar scope, because rain is still coming down in spots where you see some darker blues in Monroe County and into parts of western Wayne County is really the focus of activity. There's still some light rain in northern Livingston County and south of the Thruway, but your forecast with those winds out of the northwest, 20 to 35 plus at 8 a.m. They will lessen, but it'll be hardly noticeable. Still 15 to 30 at noon, and then about 10 to 25 at 5. And temperatures will stay in the mid-60s. We hit 69 at midnight. That will likely be as warm as we get on this day, the September 11th. Let's check the roads now with Carol Williams in airborne traffic. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, David. Well, as you're heading to the roadways this morning, you will find some light rain. Not a lot of problems for you, though. Just slow down just a little bit as you get used to that. Otherwise, everything else is moving fairly well. We do have some construction today on the south side, 390 from Scottsville Road to just past the 390-590 interchange, scheduled for paving work today. Looking right now at 490, 390, and 590. They're in good shape. With your ride to work, I'm Carol Williams.
Thanks, Carol. The images of September 11th will be everywhere today, on televisions, in newspapers, and in magazines. One media analyst we spoke with says the coverage is important as long as it's done responsibly. Some people say they will avoid the TV. Others, like Monique Rumpf, plan to watch. She said she'll let her son watch as well.
He's living in this world. He needs to know. I'm not gonna make him not go to school. I'm not gonna turn the TV off or anything. He's gonna go.
ABC News will have special coverage on the September 11th anniversary today. That coverage starts immediately after our broadcast. News Source 13 will also have local coverage throughout the day with an hour-and-a-half special report beginning at 5 o'clock this evening. News Source 13's Doug Amlich will join us this evening with live reports from New York City.
You know, Doug will show us what life is like in New York City as it is today, 1 year later, in honor of September 11th and those who died. Flags will be flown at half-staff today. Just after midnight, the flags at the Capitol and the White House in Washington, D.C. were lowered to half-staff. Also today, bells will ring at the World Trade Center site, the Pentagon in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to honor and remember those who died. There will also be moments of silence and a reading of the victims' names in New York, Washington, and Shanksville. President Bush will visit all three locations and will address the nation tonight from Ellis Island. Now, for a complete list of the events that are going to be taking place in our community today to commemorate the September 11th anniversary, just log on to our website at WOKR13.tv.
As America wakes to this somber anniversary, the president is telling everyone to go about their day as they normally would, even though the risk of a terrorist attack is greater. America is under a code orange terror alert this morning. That means the risk is high for an attack. The government confirmed yesterday threats have been made against U.S. embassies in Asia. The White House is particularly concerned about American landmarks here at home. Anti-aircraft missile launchers are set up around the nation's capital with live ammunition as a precaution. There are no reports of any American injuries after a man fired a gun outside a U.S. military base in Afghanistan. It happened in Bagram, north of Kabul. A military spokeswoman says American soldiers fired back. One person from Afghanistan is hurt, but it's not clear if that person is the gunman.
Well, certainly life as we know it has changed since September 11th last year. People felt more vulnerable, having a need to feel safe and secure. Weeks and months were filled with reports of increased security measures. As News Source 13's Shalonda Roberts tells us, business tripled for one local security company.
Leonard Adams Jr. says 20 minutes after the events on September 11th, the phones in his office started ringing.
Everybody wanted to increase security, everything downtown. I had guards that might have got off at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. We had to call back in.
The city of Rochester is one of the security company's accounts. It called for extra security for city garages.
You know, 9/11 just made it all of us aware that something can happen anywhere in the country when terrorists are involved. So we wanted to be responsible and make sure that our services and our sites and environment is really safe for people.
The city has 9 garages servicing more than 9,000 people, 3 million annually. Since September 11th, a new camera system has been installed.
These are the state of the art. These will rotate 360 degrees in just a matter of seconds.
The cameras are state-of-the-art and are manned 24 hours. In addition, overhead gates were installed in the city's 2 underground garages.
In those areas we felt most vulnerable because those garages are probably in the mix of a number of commercial office buildings downtown. So we decided to install overhead ramps so that we could actually close those garage down.
Adams Security was also called to guard one of the city's reservoirs. 2 guards were posted around the clock.
Usually when something happens, they want security right away, as soon as possible. How many guards can get down to a site? We want extra coverage, 24 hours. It was, like I said, it was a real sense of urgency.
After September 11th, Adams Security was called to 4 Points Sheridan. Extra guards were put on duty to check the IDs of all guests entering the hotel. Adams says today people don't have their guard up like they did a year ago. There's less visible security, but more internal awareness.
People are doing it on their own. They're telling their own employees what to look out for just in case something happens.
Still, people feel more at ease when they can actually see security measures that have been put in place. Shalonda Roberts, WOKR, News Source 13.
We are told that the guards for Adams Security attend an 8-hour security class and spend 16 hours of training before placed on a job. Since September 11th, there has been continuous training in preparation for any possible terrorist attacks.
Results from the primary races are at the bottom of your screen. And with 98% of the precincts reporting, local businessman Tom Golisano beat Governor George Pataki in the Independence Party race. Golisano needed that win to run against Pataki and Democratic candidate Carl McCall this November.
that we will be campaigning against both of them as a unit. They represent what's gone on in our state for the last 20 or 30 years, and now we have a real opportunity for significant change in this state, and it doesn't have to be a Democrat or a Republican.
Golisano and Pataki also ran against each other for the Conservative Party nomination. Golisano was a write-in candidate, and it could take a couple of days before we know the results of that race.
Well, members of the Rochester Police Department are mourning the loss of one of their own. 42-year-old Al Smith died after a collision while riding his motorcycle to work yesterday morning. Smith was with the force for 7 years and was a school resource officer at the Rochester City School District. Police Chief Robert Duffy says Smith was an upstanding and beloved member of the Rochester Police Department and of the entire community.
It was a big night for teachers in the Rochester City School District. 94% of teachers who voted yesterday agreed to the new contract, which will give teachers an average salary increase of 3.9%. They'll also see an average pay increase of 3.7% next year.
And when we come back, David will have a look at our weather forecast.
First, we go to a live picture at the World Trade Center site. We are just hours away from a ceremony that will take place. Stay with us.
We all remember September 11th, 2001.
On its anniversary, ABC News will have all-day coverage from across the nation.
And at 5, join us for a special 90 minutes of News Source 13 as we look at the local impact of 9/11.
We hope you'll join us September 11th.
Have you ever experienced a real bagel? Not frozen, not steam injected, but a real Bruegger's bagel. Made the way only we make them. Right here in our bakery, hot and fresh in our stone hearth oven. Consider yourself invited to come on into Bruegger's and taste the difference. Bruegger's Bagel Bakers bake a better bagel.
Try one of our bagel and egg sandwiches. Wake up, come in, and taste the difference.
When a crisis strikes, children need a voice. We can all heal by joining the Kids Helping Kids campaign and reaching out to the children most impacted by the September 11th disaster. 1-800-FOR-KIDS.
You're watching News Source 13 this morning with Kathy Kriz, Doug Embledge, and meteorologist David Aldrich. News Source 13. More local news, more local experience.
10 minutes after 6 now, and David has a look at our forecast for today. Much cooler this morning. You'll notice that as soon as you step out the door, I saw some raindrops on my car and all over the ground, too.
It's very appropriate. I mean, it's just kind of a sad day. It's a day that we always, it's painful to remember, but it's impossible to forget. Today, it's going to be a big difference, I think, as you notice for the weather. We're talking no more 90s or 80s or even 70s today. It's going to stay in the 60s. Take a look at the rain situation on Fast Track 13. If you're heading out the door, you're heading to work perhaps or even school in the next half hour or so, you're going to be dealing with, again, rain showers from Webster to Penfield to Fairport and in the city of Rochester. Rainfall amounts while our Newark rain gauge is inoperable. You'll notice some locations getting close to 0.2 of an inch, but about 0.10 was observed at the airport in Rochester, about 0.11 there in Leroy. And the temperatures have dropped into the upper 50s and some low 60s, but it's the winds that you'll notice this morning. Take a look at these live neighborhood weather wind speeds. You can see generally in the 20 to 25, even 30 mile-an-hour winds there in Parma, and we've noticed some gusts over 40 miles per hour right along the lakeshore, so it will be very choppy. There is a small craft advisory for boaters. Not a good day to be on Lake Ontario. Let's talk about what's going on in the big scene. We have Gustav. And Gustav, this tropical storm, has maximum winds now that are approaching hurricane status. But it will be a real threat, I think, for eastern Nova Scotia as it will be moving out to sea. We have the showers that you can see that did move through western New York. We're still dealing with some low-level moisture that's not being detected on this radar, as we just showed you a moment ago. Tropical storm Gustav now at 5 a.m. has maximum winds at 70 miles per hour. Now those strong winds of 70 are near the center of circulation. That is well south of Nantucket. But moving northeast 24 miles per hour, we expect the forward speed to increase as it begins to make that turn to the right. Notice how the temperatures will stay in the 60s today. Some peekaboo sunshine will be observed, but the rain should stay in the morning hours. We expect, again, some low-level moisture, some sunshine, but Temperatures will stay in the 60s. We hit 69 at midnight. That will likely be our high temperature. But notice the strongest winds are here in the morning, 20 to 35 plus out of the northwest. That's where we expect to be today. If you're on the waterway, well, if you're on Lake Ontario, please be advised there is a small craft advisory. Water spouts will be possible today with winds 15 to 30 knots and waves 4 to 6 feet. A very choppy day indeed. Fall foliage, I know they kind of change gears. We have to look forward to something, and I'll tell you, if you're heading out to the Adirondacks in the last 2 weeks of this month, that's when we expect the peak colors to be observed in these counties. But it's the western southern tier that usually blossoms after that, about the last week of September, first week of October. Generally, the Empire State can look for colors to show their brilliance in the first 2 weeks of October, especially away from the lake, and again, second and third week rather of October in the areas that you see in orange, like Watertown and around the Niagara Peninsula. It's the last area around Long Island that typically sees these colors peak in early November and the last 2 weeks of October. So we'll talk more about colors in the next coming days. 61 degrees right now, northwest winds at 15. We're gusting to 24. The pressure has been rising in the wake of all of the activity that's going on here. It's going to make traveling a little bit sticky, I think, especially in and around Boston. You want to call ahead if you're traveling, but the skies have cleared out around Lake Superior. Your forecast map, while the winds continue out of the northwest today, tonight we'll have a few lingering clouds down into the 40s. It's going to get chilly as we move into your Thursday. But Thursday afternoon, again, a mix of sun and clouds. High pressure to our south, but warmer temperatures will be back into the low 70s for tomorrow. Today, though, look for highs, daytime highs in the mid to perhaps upper 60s. Again, it's the winds you'll notice. Lingering clouds tonight if you're headed to some September 11th remembrance ceremonies. It'll be much cooler. We're down to 48 degrees by the crack of dawn tomorrow. In the next 5 days, big weekend ahead, 80 degrees on Saturday. Rain showers, thunderstorms on Sunday. So Saturday, the better of the 2 days for Clothesline Festival, perhaps, and Oktoberfest in Irondequoit.
All right, thanks a lot, David. You know, a lot of folks asking what they can do on this September 11th to commemorate the day, and the Red Cross is asking any eligible blood donors to come out and donate some blood today to obviously help remember last September 11th.
You'll remember that many people came out to donate last year in response to the terrorist attacks. News Source 13's medical reporter Christine Webb is at the Holodome this morning in Henrietta, and she is helping us find out what's going on at the WOKR-TV Clear Channel Blood Drive. Good morning, Christine.
Blood drive actually just got underway, and already we have a line. There's about 20 people. Oh, wow. We're in the part where people are just starting to register and come in, and already we've got a crowd, so that is great. I want to go through a little bit about what you can expect when you come down here to the Holodome on Jefferson Road to donate. Joining me now is Maureen Dorman. She's the operation manager, and you have been quite busy today. So you're going to kind of walk us through what people can expect. So obviously this is the registering area where people come in.
Yes, that is correct. This is where they register. They read what you must know about donating blood, which gives them some information on eligibility. Then they will sign in. After they sign in,
we're going to take a walk. Here we go.
Through the information hallway, where we have people from Chapter, Disaster Services, the Bone Marrow Program, and apheresis all here to give information about their services.
And then we come to the big room. And this is where people wait?
Yes, this is where actually they will wait to get into one of our electronic BDR stations. That's the electronic blood donor record. If they have their donor card, the donor specialist will type in their donor ID number, and it will print an electronic version of the blood donor record, which has all of their demographic information on it. After they receive their blood donor record form, then they will go over here to the health history examination.
And then actually, once they do that, this is where, just let's point out where they donate.
Yes, that's they donate over here after they've finished the health history examination if they are eligible for donation today.
And we should also point out that you should allot at least an hour's worth of time.
Yes, an hour's worth of time. And to prepare for the donation, you should have something to eat before you come to donate, and you should have plenty of fluids, something more than coffee. Have some juice or water, and that will help you with your donation.
Water is usually good. You also have extra staff on hand when you come to register that are asking lots of questions so that you can kind of weed out if people are eligible, if people are not eligible.
That is correct. That's what they do during the health history examination, in addition to taking their vital signs.
All right. Thank you, Maureen. She's got quite a busy day ahead. Again, the blood drive is underway. We're going until 7 o'clock tonight here at the Holodome on Jefferson Road. Kathy and Norma, back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Christine.
It's important to remember a lot of people still have to go to work today.
That's
so
right.
Some are getting in before they need to head out.
Very smart, but give yourself an hour, she said.
We'll
be right back.
Neighborhood weather reports are made possible by Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's the Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning Winter Celebration. We're celebrating being chosen Contractor of the Year with our best offer of the year. When you buy a new Rheem high-efficiency contour furnace, you'll receive a new Rheem central air conditioning system free. You'll save money on your heating bill, add value to your home, and keep your family comfortable season to season. So act now and take advantage of our winter celebration. Call 546-1400 or visit isaacheating.com for more information.
Paul's Teacher's Pet is the place more teachers count on for resource materials. We have everything you need to make learning fun and interesting for your students. The Mailbox Book Company's Ready to Go series offers 77 complete, ready-to-teach lessons in language, arts, math, science, and social studies. Paul's Teacher's Pet is also for parents. We have everything for back to school, including the locker ladder that maximizes storage space. Shop in-store or online at paulsteacherspet.com.
You're watching News Source 13 this morning.
Well, on this September 11th anniversary, the nation is on a heightened state of alert. ABC's Derek McGinty has more from ABC.
Good morning. Here are the top stories from ABC News. The nation is on a heightened state of alert as it marks the first anniversary of the September 11th attacks. Military Humvees equipped with live air defense missiles are posted around the Pentagon and government buildings in Washington. And more than a dozen U.S. diplomatic posts overseas are closed because of new terror warnings. Ceremonies are being held across the nation to mark this first September 11th, since the date was burned into the national memory. Bagpipers set out before dawn to march from other New York City boroughs down to Ground Zero. President Bush will lay a wreath there this afternoon after he attends a ceremony this morning at the Pentagon. Mr. Bush will also visit that field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where United Flight 93 crashed. The president says he wants both to console and to embolden the nation.
It's going to be a day of tears and a day of prayer, a day of national resolve. It also needs to be a day in which we confirm the values which make us unique and great.
ABC News will have live coverage throughout the day of ceremonies marking the events of September 11th. Now, here is some of what to look for on this first anniversary of the terrorist attacks. A lunchtime concert will be held at the Oklahoma City National Memorial. In Kansas City, red, white, and blue balloons will be released, one for each victim of last year's attacks. In Charleston, South Carolina, the bell on the old fire department will toll 343 times, once for each New York City firefighter who died at the World Trade Center. And tonight, all Major League Baseball games will pause at 9/11 local time for a moment of silence. And those are some of the stories ABC News is following at this hour. I'm Derek McGinty.
This woman is in hiding because of what she says she knows about Saddam Hussein. Thursday, paranoia, plots, torture, and George Bush. Saddam's secrets. She says she knows them because she was his secret mistress. A primetime world exclusive. Thursday.
George Stephanopoulos. He's never done anything just the same old way. And Sunday mornings will be no exception. Starting this Sunday, it's a new This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Sundays, this is where news will be made.
Was to guard the Pentagon, so when the place was hit, they were the first to respond. Their story, tonight.
They were American heroes fighting the war against terror, but did they bring terror home? 4 soldiers accused of killing their wives. Friday, what you don't know about the Fort Bragg murders. What may have sent these men over the edge in their own homes?
Were these crimes of passion?
John Miller investigates on the extraordinary season premiere of 2020 Friday.
He never saved another's life. He never ruled a nation. He never led men in desperate battle. And yet his whole life is a story of heroism. And Wednesday, September 18th, his victory will thrill your heart.
to lift one little finger. Christopher Reeve, Courageous Steps, Wednesday, September 18th at 10/9 Central on ABC.
And we are back, and David has a quick weather update for us.
Well, today will be windy. We'll deal with some nuisance rain, I think, through the early morning hours, and then it's going to quit. We'll see some sunshine before the day is through. Take a look at the radar over the last 6 hours. You can see most of the activity now moving through the North Country into northern New York State, but we will be left with a few lingering showers. The winds, though, take a look as the kids head off to the bus stop. We'll be out of the northwest, 20 to 35 plus. And then coming back from school, about 15 to 30. But those clouds and sunshine will peak out from time to time. Temperatures, I think, will top out in the mid to upper 60s. Let's get a check now on the ride to work with Carol Williams and airborne traffic. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, David. Heading into work this morning on 490 eastbound after Culver Road. Watch for an accident on the shoulder. Be careful. Also, some light misting on the roadways as well, so just slow down your speeds a bit. No problems in terms of volume on any of the major routes right now. With your ride to work, I'm Carol Williams.
Well, for many Americans, the terrorist attacks brought the Islamic faith and its followers under intense scrutiny. Here in Rochester, members of the Muslim community rallied for peace and against discrimination. Today, meet a young woman using education to defend her faith and her culture.
Think about it. Why are you Muslim? You believe it?
Shaza Khan is a teacher at the Islamic Center of Rochester. She's used to asking questions, but after September 11th, she found herself answering questions that came from total strangers.
We were prompted to do more and more immediately and with greater intensity after September 11th to put out to try and dispel the stereotypes of Muslims and Islam that are so prevalent in American society and abroad.
Although Shaza says she never directly faced discrimination, her family worried that she might, and even asked her to remove her hijab or scarf when going outside. She refused.
It was something that came from within. It didn't matter to me, and in fact, it strengthened my resolve, all of this, to become more solidified in my Muslim identity.
They lose their husbands. They lose their sons.
Through peace rallies and interfaith prayer services, Muslim leaders highlighted Islam's emphasis on peace. Shaza says being an advocate for Islam was at times exhausting, but she says she drew strength from people inside and outside the Muslim community.
In terms of the Rochester community, it's been so phenomenal and so supportive. When I would come in, there was loads of cards and flowers and just people offering so much support to the Muslim community.
While the treatment of Muslims locally has been mostly positive, some say the treatment of Muslims nationally is still lacking.
The FBI continues to search and question people suspected of having al-Qaeda connections. Ali Nahas worries innocent people may get caught in the dragnet.
September 11 does not mean that we lose our civil rights, does not mean that we lose our legal protection as Americans. I'm not talking about a Muslim, I'm talking about Americans in general, because the administration policies is affecting all Americans.
Americans with different customs. Americans who also share a dream for peace. And still ahead this morning, we're going to have life strategist Susan Harf. She'll be joining us. And
yeah, she'll be talking to us about some tips for your children on the somber anniversary, as well as some advice for adults. So stay with us.
If you've ever dreamed about the freedom and flexibility of owning your very own RV, don't miss the season-ending RV Super Sale on now at the Grease Ridge Center. With over 100 new and used RVs on sale and low bank rates, you're sure to find the RV to fit your lifestyle and your budget. 10 campers start at just $37.95. Travel trailers from only $11,995. You can even hit the open road in a brand new motorhome for only $399 a month. The RV Super Sale is now through Sunday. Bring the whole family. Don't miss this chance to make your RV dreams come true.
For the latest weather information, call the Weatherline Forecast Service, sponsored by the Shopping Bag and Advertiser and updated by News Source 13's weather team at 334-0013.
There are those in our land who need a helping hand, and we're here 'cause their neighbors understand. Don't ignore what open our mission is for. Help the last, the least, the lost. Open door.
Introducing the all-new Enclave. It's a minivan to the max, with features like remote control sliding rear doors, 150 cable channels, a full sky view roof, temperature-controlled cup holders, and the 6-point navigation system. It's the minivan for families on the go.
You're watching News Source 13, honored for the 7th time in 8 years with the New York Associated Press Award for the best regularly scheduled newscast. The tradition of excellence continues.
None of us quite know what to expect for the rest of the day today. This is all a first for all of us, experiencing the first-year anniversary of September 11th. But our life strategist, Susan Harf, is here to kind of get us through the day with some advice.
That's right. Susan, we're here to talk about some of the things that we can do today to kind of remember today, the anniversary, and as Kathy said, really something that a lot of us, it's the first time, obviously, that we're dealing with this. And so a lot of people just wondering, you know, what they can do with their daily life and dealing with all kinds of situations, whether they're adults or children.
You know, Norma and Kathy, I think the best way that we can go about our lives today to remember those that suffered 9/11 last year and what we've all been through is to live our own lives with the kind of integrity as though today was, and I don't mean to be morbid again, but as though this was our last day.
Was something a lot of people have said.
Well, and you know why? Because sometimes when we go about our lives in a harried way, we forget not only how vulnerable we can be, but the fact that we owe it to ourselves and not only the memories of others, but to our loved ones now and the people that we're associated with. We owe it to them and to ourselves to behave in a way that we're all proud of. One of the things that occurred yesterday, someone told me a story that I wanted to share with you. They were, this was a son, an adult son, telling me this story. He's in his 40s, and he said that every year he spends his birthday with his parents and other family members. This year, the parents were in their 70s, he's in his 40s, parents decided to go to Mexico instead of being with him on his birthday. And he said, you know, that really bothered me, especially in light of 9/11. We should all be closer as a family. We should be more together. We've always had a close family in the past. Why are they doing this to me and my children? They look forward to being with their grandparents. And I said, you know what, I'm thinking about 9/11 as well. And instead of looking at this situation as my parents are letting me down, why not instead look at it as an opportunity for you to afford your parents and others around you more flexibility, be less demanding of the people in our lives. We tend to go about our lives in a way where we have expectations of others. Sometimes those expectations are our own and they are unrealistic.
Sure. So give people, as you said, just kind of give people a chance, a break, really, and just live your life with that kind of integrity.
Absolutely. Sometimes I think what we do is we place our own values on everyone else in a way that's inappropriate. In other words, if my parents don't spend my birthday with me, he said, that means they don't love their grandchildren as much. They don't want to be with all of us. No, that is not the case. Stop looking for what other people need to show you, need to do for you. Instead, do for them and do for yourself.
So shift your thinking.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Susan. We'll be back.
You can be part of gathering the news. If you see news happen, dial 222-1313 or place a free call to star 13 on your Verizon wireless phone.
In after-school programs, your kids will find the hero inside themselves. Let us know you on after-school programs in your area. Call 1-800-USA-LEARN.
There's a little something for everyone in our thrift stores, more than you can imagine, and your purchases help to benefit those who need it most, like the thousands of men and women who turn to the Salvation Army's Adult Rehabilitation Center each year looking to better their lives. Your support is the light and hope that they need to shine. Visit a thrift store today and help us to help others.
With the Salvation Army, everybody wins.
At Value City Furniture, we're rolling back prices to save you even more on fine home furnishings.
For a limited time, you can enjoy this two-piece sofa love seat package for just $6.99. Pay just $6.99 for this two-piece package and get the matching recliner free.
Or pay just $6.99 for either of these wonderful 5-piece bedroom packages. Our prices have never been lower.
For great furniture at tremendous savings, don't miss the incredible price rollback sale going on now at Value City Furniture.
From WOKR, Rochester, this is News Source 13 This Morning.
Good morning. It is now 6:33 on this Wednesday, September 11th. I'm Norma Holland in for Doug Embledge.
I'm Kathy Kriz. We'll have details of the primary results coming up. You can also look for them at the bottom of your screen. We turn to David Aldrich for our forecast.
Well, right now we're dealing with wind and a little bit of rain. It's more of a nuisance rain now. It's the mist, it's the drizzle. But take a look at the Fast Track 13 picture. I say it's a mist because it's a very light shade of blue moving through southern Monroe County and south of the Thruway. Today's forecast, while the winds will be noticeable, especially here in the morning, it'll subside somewhat to about 10 to 25 out of the north by 5 p.m. Temperatures will stay in the 60s with some peekaboo sunshine in the afternoon. Let's check on the ride to work with Carol Williams and airborne traffic. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning, David. Well, as you're heading in this morning on 490 eastbound after Culver Road, there's an accident on the left shoulder. Be careful of that. And as you mentioned, we do have a light mist this morning. It might cause a little bit of hydroplaning here and there as you're on the major routes, but right now, 490, 390, 104, all looking good. With your ride to work, I'm Carol Williams.
Thanks, Carol. Hundreds of New York City firefighters died trying to save lives in the World Trade Center, and the outpouring of support for fire departments after the attacks is unprecedented. News Source 13's Peter Robbins takes a closer look at the brotherhood today.
Driving Rochester streets is different than it used to be for firefighters. They feel a level of support from the community they never had in the past.
These people, now I think that more than ever, they realize that, we are there for them and, willing to put our lives on the line for them. And it's a good feeling to be appreciated.
The way the crew of Quinton Midi 5 approach their jobs has changed forever.
You want to give Daddy a hug? No hugs for Daddy.
The sense of family and unity they feel is even stronger. And the feeling that their lives are on the line every day has been intensified.
September 11th has changed the way firefighters think when they respond to a call. They used to just worry about helping people in need, but now they also have to worry about their own safety and the possibility that someone might deliberately try to hurt them.
With all the criteria that they have for terrorist attacks, Rochester is ranked pretty high. And we have been training for that, and hopefully nothing ever happens, but it would be very scary. It would be scary.
When the crew saw the towers come down, they knew dozens, if not hundreds, of firefighters would be among the dead. Lieutenant Bob Crandall says 30 years of fighting fires could not prepare him for that day.
No experience in my 30 years to draw from to compare it to, and to that magnitude and that devastation and that the thoughts that must have been going through their minds. Just couldn't deal with it at that time, and not sure whether I have yet fully or not either.
Grieving is a process they've approached like everything else they do. They're doing it together. Peter Robbins, WOKR News Source 13.
As America wakes to this somber anniversary, the government is urging everyone to be on alert. America is still under a code orange terror alert, signaling a high risk of attack. President Bush met with his administration before making the decision yesterday. Intelligence is warning of car bombings, suicide attacks, and other strikes linked to the September 11th anniversary. Patrols are visible around high-profile landmarks and monuments and U.S. embassies overseas. The president is taking everything seriously and says that the threats lately are similar to those heard before the attacks 1 year ago.
In honor of September 11th and those who died, flags will be flown at half-staff today. Just after midnight, the flags at the Capitol and the White House were lowered to half-staff. Also today, bells will ring at the World Trade Center site, the Pentagon, and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, to honor those who died. There will also be moments of silence and a reading of the victims' names in New York, Washington, and Shanksville. President Bush will visit all 3 locations and will address the nation tonight from Ellis Island. The images of September 11th will be everywhere today, on television screens, in newspapers, and in magazines. Some people say they will avoid the TV, while others will watch the special coverage. Some even plan to tune in with their children. A media analyst we spoke with says today's coverage is important as long as it's done responsibly.
And I hope the response is going to be a measured one that examines not only what happened, but also where we are now as a result of the events of a year ago. Give us the opportunity to reflect and think about the experience ourselves.
Well, ABC News has special coverage planned in honor of the September 11th anniversary. That coverage starts immediately following our broadcast. News Source 13 will also have local coverage throughout the day with an hour-and-a-half special report beginning at 5 o'clock. News Source 13's Doug Embledge will also join us with live reports from New York City. Doug will show us life in New York City as it is today, 1 year later. And for a complete list of the events taking place in our community today to commemorate the September 11th anniversary, just log on to our website at WOKR13.tv.
As we mentioned minutes ago, results from the primary races are at the bottom of your screen. With 98% of the precincts reporting, local businessman Tom Golisano beat Governor George Pataki in the Independence Party race. Golisano needed that win to run against Pataki and Carl McCall this November.
We will be campaigning against both of them as a unit. They represent what's gone on in our state for the last 20 or 30 years, and now we have a real opportunity for significant change in this state, and it doesn't have to be a Democrat or a Republican.
Golisano and Pataki also ran against each other for the Conservative Party nomination. Golisano was a write-in candidate, and it could take a couple of days before we know the results of that race.
A Livonia man faces rape charges this morning. Police say 30-year-old Matthew Stewart allegedly had sexual contact with a 13-year-old female. He faces second-degree rape charges and is in jail without bail. Meanwhile, the Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office is working to identify some bones that were found along Durand Eastman Beach yesterday. There's no word if the bones are human. At this point, someone walking along the beach found the bones and called 911.
When we come back, David will have our forecast.
But first, we're going to go back out live to Christine Webb at the Holodome for the WOKR-TV Clear Channel Blood Drive. Christine, how's it going out there?
You know, Norma, it's really picking up down here at the Holodome. We wanted to mention that only 5% of eligible donors actually come out and donate. So the Red Cross really wants to get first-time donors here along with second and third-time donors. We want to show you a little bit about what's going on here in the room. This is where people come, where they're getting their questions answered. We also have a lot of the Clear Channel stations. And then this is the heart of the operation. This is actually where people are giving blood. Sharon Russell of Rochester, you are in the process of giving blood. Tell us a little bit why you decided to come down here today.
Just because it's 9/11 and I needed to do something tangible to help someone else.
You told me that you haven't donated in a long time. Will you continue to donate, not just today, but throughout the rest of the year?
Yes, I will. I'm actually thinking of giving plasma also.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. We appreciate you coming down. Again, the WOKR Clear Channel Blood Drive takes place until 7 o'clock tonight. We're hoping for at least 500 units of blood today. More on News Source 13 is coming up.
September 11th, the country will come together in one place, 9/11 ABC, starting with a special Good Morning America, then unprecedented coverage throughout the day and night. 9/11 ABC, where the country will come together again.
Have you ever experienced a real bagel? Not frozen, not steam injected, but a real Bruegger's bagel. Made the way only we make them. Right here in our bakery, hot and fresh in our stone hearth oven. Consider yourself invited to come on into Bruegger's and taste the difference. Bruegger's Bagel Bakers bake a better bagel.
Try one of our bagel and egg sandwiches. Wake up, come in, and taste the difference.
It can happen to a neighbor, a friend, a loved one, and chances are it already has.
Over 24,000 people in our community suffer from Alzheimer's disease.
Participate or sponsor someone in the Alzheimer's Memory Walk, Sunday, September 22nd in these locations. Join the fight with the Bartholomew Healthcare Group to help the people who courageously battle this life-shattering disease.
Together, we can put an end to Alzheimer's.
Join us at the Alzheimer's Memory Walk.
You're watching News Source 13 this morning with Kathy Kriz, Doug Embledge, and meteorologist David Aldrich. News Source 13. More local news, more local experience.
6:42 now.
That's right. And David is back with a look at our weather forecast. A very cool one today.
It's kind of strange. You know, September 11th has come. We're now thinking about what happened a year ago, and the weather has just changed dramatically.
Yeah.
It's feeling very windy this morning, a bit damp, and certainly a little blustery for some as that raw wind just comes out of the north. It's going to be very windy, especially here in the morning. Let's talk about what's going on Fast Track 13. That's our 25-mile range. You can see rain does extend from Churchville all the way down toward Canandaigua. But let's zoom out to the 50-mile range, and you can see, again, very little activity from Warsaw to Batavia. Albion looking quiet at the present time. Live neighborhood weather. Take a look at these wind speeds as they change from moment to moment. North winds about 30 miles an hour around Parma, 11 or 18 around Rochester as it begins to change. And again, that's what you'll notice, I think, is that wind out of the north that's keeping temperatures down. We're starting off with temperatures and even wind speeds. Check this out, 41-mile-an-hour gust in Parma just since midnight, 36 in Rochester and Canandaigua. The temperatures have dropped into the 50s and 60s, 60 currently in the Flower City, 59 in Penyan. And as far as rainfall is concerned, well, we've gotten about 7/100ths of an inch in the city and close to 2/10 in Canandaigua. Let's talk about what's going on in the big picture, because we have a big storm called Gustav that is spinning off the Atlantic Ocean here. In fact, its center is still well south of Massachusetts. It's beginning to move that northeast turn now, but it has picked up in speed. It's moving to the northeast about 24 miles per hour. You can see the showers that move through western New York is now moving through parts of the North Country. But as far as the coordinates are concerned, Tropical Storm Gustav has winds of 70 miles per hour. The center of circulation is well south, just off the coast of Virginia, and it's moving northeast at 24. And again, that movement will be actually headed toward eastern Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island as we move through the late morning and afternoon. Today's forecast, though, look for temperatures to stay in the 60s. We hit 69 at midnight. That will likely be our recorded high. I don't think we're going to eclipse that. We'll stay generally in the mid to upper 60s. Notice the winds at 8 a.m. are slightly stronger than what we see in the afternoon, so it will begin to diminish as the sun makes an appearance from time to time in the afternoon. If you are a boater, please be aware a small craft advisory has been issued by the National Weather Service. Water spouts are also possible with winds 15 to 30 knots. Wave heights will generally be between 4 and 6 feet. And the lake temperature is still 71 degrees, so we're getting some lake effect clouds with some of that cooler air riding on top of the warmer waters. Let's change gears just for a moment, if we could. Fall foliage is actually something that a lot of folks look forward to this time of year, and if you're making travel plans in the Empire State, the Adirondacks, we're thinking, is usually peaks around the last 2 weeks of September. Make your plans accordingly. We generally expect peak colors in the western southern tier the last week of September, first week of October, and generally the first 2 weeks of October observed elsewhere, with the exception of areas around Watertown. They're usually the second and third week of October. And last but not least, Long Island usually gets their blossoms around, or blooms, colors and peaks in early November and late October. All that said, we're talking about temperatures at 57 degrees, where northwest winds at 20, gusting to 26 at the airport. The cloud cover will be noticeable today as we, again, get some lake enhancement with that northwest breeze. Our Gustav storm will say goodbye to that storm as it begins to move off to the north and east. Cool weather continues tonight as we drop down into the 40s, but watch what happens as we move into Thursday. We get another southerly flow, at least through Wisconsin. Temperatures will be back in around 72 degrees for Thursday. Today's forecast, though, will stay in the 60s. It's very windy in the morning and still quite breezy through the late afternoon, but some sunshine will be observed as we move into tonight. Lingering clouds, much cooler, down to 48 degrees with winds 5 to 15 out of the north. 75 on Friday. Saturday looks great for the Clothesline Festival, Oktoberfest, and Pittsford celebrates 2002. this weekend, but Sunday looks a little wet from time to time with some hit or miss showers.
Okay, David, thanks.
Thanks a lot, David. Still ahead on News Source 13, medical reporter Christine Webb is live at the Holodome in Henrietta this morning for the WOKR-TV Clear Channel Blood Drive.
But first, how businesses are commemorating the September 11th attacks. The details coming up in the Bloomberg Business Report. Stay with us.
It's the Isaac Heating and Air Conditioning Winter Celebration. We're celebrating being chosen Contractor of the Year with our best offer of the year. When you buy a new Rheem high-efficiency contour furnace, you'll receive a new Rheem central air conditioning system free. You'll save money on your heating bill, add value to your home, and keep your family comfortable season to season. So act now and take advantage of our winter celebration. Call 546-1400 or visit isaacheating.com for more information.
This message of peace and beauty is a gift from our Creator. Peace be unto you.
You're watching News Source 13 this morning.
Wall Street is joining the rest of the nation in marking the one-year anniversary of the terrorist attacks. Lori Rothman has more in today's Bloomberg Business Report.
Good morning. Just a couple blocks from here at the New York Stock Exchange, a memorial service will be held later this morning at the World Trade Center site. The stock exchange will open for trading only after the service is over, sometime around 11 a.m. Eastern. The recovery and cleanup efforts at Ground Zero have long been over, but many businesses are still trying to recover. Perhaps the airline sector has experienced the most turbulence. U.S. Airways filed for bankruptcy protection, and UAL, parent company of United Airlines, is also struggling. In order to boost the shaken economy, the Federal Reserve has kept interest rates at a 41-year low. And consumers have found refuge in the housing market, snapping up homes at low mortgage rates. A 30-year mortgage now stands at about 6%, the lowest level since 1971. And car sales have also been stronger than expected. 0% financing and loan incentives, courtesy of the big three automakers, have pushed sales up 13%. After this quick break, we'll take a look at where the markets stand ahead of today's highly anticipated open.
I am an American. I am an American.
I am an American.
I am an American. I am
an American.
I am an American.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm an American. I'm an American.
I am American. I am an American. I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
Since September 11th, the U.S. financial markets have struggled to stay on track. The major market averages are down year to date, but in the last session, stocks managed a modest advance. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 83 points. The S&P 500 picked up 6 points, while the NASDAQ Composite Index added on 15 points. And that is the latest from the New York Stock Exchange. I'm Lori Rothman with today's Bloomberg Business Report.
Time to look at your travel forecast with David.
It's going to get a little rainy, I think, especially in the parts of New England. But take a look at the radar. You can see it for yourself, especially through parts of northern New York State and also approaching far eastern portions of Massachusetts around Cape Cod. That is Gustav, and Gustav is racing to the northeast. It has maximum winds now near 70 miles per hour, but it will not cause a problem for the mainland. 73 degrees in Pittsburgh. Look for highs, generally daytime highs, in the mid-60s for Rochester. Rain in Salt Lake City. Thunderstorms in Orlando, Florida. And if your travel plans take you to Portland, Oregon, sunny at 84. Let's check the roads now with Carol Williams.
On the roads this morning, you will find things are in pretty good shape. We're finding light volume right now, no unusual delays. Just a heads up, in about 2 hours at 9 o'clock, 390 in both directions between Scottsville Road and just in that area past the 390-590 interchange, we'll have the left lane closed. They'll do some paving this morning until this afternoon. With your ride to work, I'm Carol Williams.
What can we do today to commemorate 9/11? A lot of folks asking that question. One thing you could do is go out and give some blood today. Donate some blood.
News Source 13's medical reporter Christine Webb is at the Holodome in Henrietta this morning to give you some information on that. Christine?
Kathy and Norma, you're actually very right on with doing something positive on this day. A lot of people may be sitting at home saying, what can I do? How can I make a difference? Well, you can make a difference by coming down to the Holiday Inn on Jefferson Road and donating blood, giving the gift of life. One donation can actually save up to 3 lives. We want to talk right now with Assistant Medical Director, and that's Dr. Janus. Thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about what your role in this is.
Well, we thought if the doctors came down over the day and sort of were at the front end, that first-time donors in particular, or any donor that has an eligibility question, can ask me up front so that they don't go through the entire history process only to find out they're not able to donate.
You actually had a pretty interesting story this morning about a young man.
Yes, luckily I had a young man come up to me and tell me that he had spent 3.5 months in London going to school in 1988, and I could tell him right away that he would be deferred because of the risk of mad cow disease or VCJD. So it's unfortunate he couldn't donate, but we were able to tell him right away so he didn't have a long wait to find that out.
We were talking a little bit about that yesterday. Explain a little bit more in depth about traveling overseas and why that's so.
Well, at the present time, we don't have any hard scientific evidence that VCJD can be spread by transfusion, but to be safe, we have travel deferrals for both the UK, 3 months, and 6 months cumulative time in Eastern and Western Europe plus the UK. So anybody who travels abroad for their job, this goes back to 1980, cumulative since 1980. So if you travel for your job in Europe, then chances are you're not eligible to donate.
Okay, thank you, doctor, for joining us. We also want to point out that after you're through with donating, you're going to get a little candle, red, white, and blue candle. Today, the theme is Remember, Support, and Prepare. We're live at the Holodome on Jefferson Road for the WOKR Clear Channel Blood Drive. News Source 13 this morning continues.
News Source 13, always on at WOKR13.tv for up-to-the-minute local news, weather, sports, health, and entertainment information. Go to WOKR13.tv.
There are those in our land who need a helping hand, and we're here 'cause their neighbors understand. Don't ignore what open our mission is for. Help the last, the least, the lost. Open door.
I am an American. I am an American.
I am an American.
I am an American. I am
An American.
I am an American.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm an American. I'm an American.
I am American.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
We're going to take a live picture again of Ground Zero this morning. This is the site where a ceremony will be taking place starting at 8:46 in just about 2 hours from now. It will begin with a moment of silence, and bagpipers will play, and also Governor Pataki will be there. Former Mayor Rudolph Giuliani will start the reading of names of those who have died in the attacks exactly 1 year ago today.
Amazing to look at that site today, to imagine that the two towers once stood there. Looks so dramatically different,
yes.
But a lot of events going on there today. and a lot of events going on here. One of them, a blood drive held by WOKR 13 and Clear Channel. News Source 13 medical reporter Christine Webb is live at the Holodome in Henrietta for that blood drive.
Hello again, Christine.
Hi, Kathy and Norma. And you know, so far it's great to see that there has been a lot of people already at this early hour in the morning showing up to give blood. A lot of people want to give something back, and this is a great thing to do for the community. Joining us now is Jim Lang from the American Red Cross. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Give us, it is a good day to come down, and a lot of people have been saying this is something tangible that they can do.
Absolutely.
What's the message to get out there today?
I think the message is to be able to have people come out, and you know, this is a chance for the community to come out and support each other. It's a way for people to come together and do something different. You know, giving blood is something that is a very tangible practice people can do. We need them to get in the community and get on a regular basis to donate. And today's a good effort to show that people are coming out, and it's wonderful. Everyone's smiling, happy. The radios are here, the TVs are here. We're getting donors through in a fast pace.
I'm sure you're also hoping to get those first-time donors in and keep them.
Absolutely. You know, keeping a donor base is what we need to do. It's so important. You know, blood is, you know, we had a very tough summer. This is a great day here to kind of jumpstart the whole fall and get things rolling. So we're looking forward to it. And so far, donors are coming out in droves. So,
in fact, they've already had 250 people at least pre-register. So that's a great thing. We're hoping for at least 500, and I'm sure we can do that. The WOKR Clear Channel Blood Drive will take place until 7 o'clock tonight. We hope that you can come on down. Allot at least an hour's worth of time to donate some blood. We are live at the Holodome on Jefferson Road for the WOKR Clear Channel Blood Drive. News Source 13 this morning continues.
If you've ever dreamed about the freedom and flexibility of owning your very own RV, don't miss the season-ending RV Super Sale on now at the Grease Ridge Center. With over 100 new and used RVs on sale and low bank rates, you're sure to find the RV to fit your lifestyle and your budget. Tent campers start at just $37.95. Travel trailers from only $11,995. You can even hit the open road in a brand new motorhome for only $399 a month. The RV Super Sale is now through Sunday. Bring the whole family. Don't miss this chance to make your RV dreams come true.
In after-school programs, your kids will find the hero inside themselves. Let us know you on after-school programs in your area. Call 1-800-USA-LEARN.
Rain in the morning, some sunshine in the afternoon, but windy, high around 66 during the day.
Thanks, David. That's our report for right now. We'll see you back later today.
And Good Morning America is straight ahead with special coverage of the September 11th anniversary. Have a good day.
If you see news happen, dial 222-1313 or star 13 on your Verizon Wireless phone. This is a free call. Join in. A service brought to you by Verizon Wireless. From WOKR-TV Rochester, this is a News Source 13 special report, 9/11.
Good morning, I'm Kathy Kriz. On this first anniversary of the September 11th attacks, many people are pausing to remember the victims who died. News Source 13's Norma Holland joins us now from a memorial service at Highland Park. Norma?
That's right, Kathy. The service is set to begin momentarily. It's going to be at the Peace Pole here at Highland Park near the gazebo. It's being put on by the Interfaith Forum of Rochester and other religious groups here. All of this, the theme of the service will be light. A memorial light will be lit, and all of it will be set to coincide with a prayer service tonight at the Eastman House. It starts at 8:30, this event here this morning, so if you can come out, make sure you do come out and say a prayer with everyone here. We turn now to David Aldrich with a look at today's forecast. David?
Your weather forecast for Wednesday, September 11th. Cloudy skies, a little bit of drizzle, especially in the morning, but windy. A daytime high around 66.
From WOKR-TV Rochester, this is a News Source 13 special report, 9/11.
Good afternoon, I'm Kathy Kriz. There are so many poignant moments this day as Rochester remembers September 11th. One of them at Highland Park, where more than a dozen people prayed and held a moment of silence. Afterwards, they lit candles as a symbol of hope. At the Hochstein School of Music this morning, performers and members of the audience sang Mozart's Requiem, which was written in tribute to the dead. Choirs around the world sang the same piece at the exact time the first plane hit the World Trade Center. And just a reminder, the News Source 13 Clear Channel Blood Drive runs until 7 o'clock tonight. It's at the Holodome in Henrietta. In the next hour, medical reporter Christine Webb has a live report from the blood drive to tell us how it's going and give us an idea of how turnout is so far. We'll see you then.
From WOKR-TV Rochester, this is a News Source 13 special report, 9/11.
Good afternoon, I'm Peter Robbins. If you're looking for something to do today to remember the victims of September the 11th, you have an opportunity to give blood this afternoon. For more on that, we join our medical reporter, Christine Webb. Christine?
Hi, Peter. It is just amazing, the outpouring of support that we have seen today. Joining me now is Sybil Miller. Sybil, nice to see you. And why don't you just give us an update about what's going on?
Well, currently things couldn't be better. We are, at last count, at 333 units on a goal of 500. That is phenomenal. And people here are sharing their day with us in the most positive way I think they could, and that's giving back to the community.
And remember that we're here until 7 o'clock tonight, so please come out and donate. Pete, back to you.
Okay, Christine, once again, that's the blood drive at the Holodome in Henrietta. They'll be there until 7 o'clock tonight, so if you have an opportunity, please stop by. It's sponsored by WOKR 13. We'll have more news coming up in about an hour here on WOKR. We hope you'll stay with us.